Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. I am actually coming to you live from Queensland in Australia. So it's actually morning for me, 10 o'clock in the morning. So hope that you are all well. Welcome to the broadcast. I like to do these, a couple of times a week so I can bring you some information to help you take your life to the next level. If you are here and you are watching, please make sure that you say hi. Let me know who you are and where you're from. So I can give you a little bit of a shout out, okay? I can see Alfred is already here. Hi, Alfred. Happy New Year from Dublin, Ireland. Oh, great to see you here, Alfred. I bet it's for freezing up there. Midnight in Dublin. Wow, you're up late. Okay, well, thank you for joining. So let me give you a little look at where I am right now. So I'm actually, you can kind of see, I'm at my friend's place, and you can kind of see the ocean in the background there. It's very difficult, but it's nice and green and lush up here, and nice and warm. It's a little bit cooler today, thank goodness, but it has been very warm up here. So I was swimming in the ocean yesterday. It was fabulous. The water was so nice and warm. It was so cool. So let me say hi to Malcolm. Hi, Malcolm. Good to see you here from Texas. We've got Katarina from Adelaide. Hi, how are you? Got some Aussies here. Jim Snyder from South Carolina. How are you, Jim? We've got Terry Collier. Happy New Year to you too. And Rachel Ma from Melbourne. Good to see some Aussies here. It's fantastic. I've been loving my trip here. I'm actually going to be here for another week or so. I'm really enjoying the sunshine and the warm weather. Not that it gets too cold in California, of course, but it's really, really lovely. So today's going to be a great video because I'm going to be talking about 7 questions that you can ask yourself to really figure out what it is that you want in your life. Sometimes we get a little stuck and you're just like, I want my life to be better. I want my life to improve. I want something different. But until we know what that thing is, or even have a direction in which we can head to figure out what that is, it's difficult for us to be able to create any change. So I'm going to go through the 7 questions, and I suggest that you write them down, or you can always watch this video later. Obviously, it's recorded. And then when you go through the questions, do it at a place where you're nice and quiet, where you have no interruptions. You might have done a little meditation or might watch a mind movie or something beforehand, so you're sort of in that really quiet state. And then go through and don't force any of the answers to come out, but just really sit with the question. You might not do all 7 of them in one sitting. You might, stretch them out over a couple of sessions over a week or 2, just to get really clear. But, often we'll get intuition and we'll get little insights, but we don't trust what first comes to us. So I recommend writing down anything that comes through to you as you ask yourself these questions, and maybe ask one question and then just start journaling. Start writing and see what comes through you when you do that. I think that also can be very helpful as well. Okay, let's see. Lynette Butt, good to see you here, Lynette. Always here. It's fantastic. My love, hello to you. I think you're from somewhere in Europe, whether you spelled hello. Stacey Lovejoy from Maine. Hi, Stacey. Rachel, grateful that you're here. Yes, okay. All right, let's get into the 7 questions because these are really, really insightful, and they're fantastic. So grab your pen and pen if you've got it, pen and paper. So the first question is, what did you dream of becoming when you were a child? Now, when I thought of this question, like when I was a younger child, I didn't really know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I never really thought about that. When I was like in primary school or elementary school, I really had no desires. I was just focusing on what was at hand. But I do remember that when I left school, and I left school when I was 15, what I really wanted to do was become a teacher. But I had to leave school at the end of year 10. And so when I had that thought, I'm like, well, and I actually wanted to be a PE teacher or a physical education teacher. And so I did the next best thing. I became an aerobics instructor. I worked in the fitness industry for 11 years, teaching aerobics, managing fitness centers. But that's when I got introduced to personal development. And so doing all the Tony Robbins courses, this is when I started reading all the books. And then, of course, that obviously led into this work that I'm doing now. And right now I would consider myself to be a teacher. So, think about what you dreamed about as a child, and it doesn't need to look exactly as you thought it. Like, being a teacher, I would have thought that naturally would have meant in the classroom or with children, but not necessarily. It's actually showed up in this way. So, thinking about like even the basic components of what it is that you were dreamed of when you were younger can really help you discover, what it is that you want to do now. Okay. So that's number one. What did you dream of becoming when you were a child? Number two is, what would you regret not doing or being or having in your life? So is there anything that you can think of that like if you, let's say that you, something happened, you were diagnosed, had a bad diagnosis, and you only had a week to live. What would you regret not doing? Think about that. Is there something some person that you'd like to be? Is there some, vocation? Is there something you'd like to do? Somewhere you'd like to travel? Something that you'd like to do that you would really regret, that if you only had a week left to live, that you wouldn't be able to do it? So really sit with that and think, wonder what that would be. I know with myself, like I love what I do, obviously, and I really have a lot of fulfillment and purpose from it. And I've actually been on a lot of adventures around the world. So to me, it's like, if I only had a week to live, I don't know if there's anything that I would regret. But really think about what that could be for you, because it could give you some insight into what it is that you want to do next. Okay. Right. So that was number two. What would you regret not doing, being, or having in your life? Okay. Could even be a relationship with someone. It could be anything like that. Okay. Number three is, what activities make you lose track of time? Now, this is a fantastic question, because what it does, it gives us insight into the things that we really love to do that we just could lose ourselves into. And normally when you find an activity that's like that, it's an indication it's something that you truly love. For me, I could feel like sick. I could be run down. I could feel like, like just awful. But then I get on to do a video like this, and this energizes me, or I do an interview with someone and it completely energizes me, because this is what I love to do. And I could talk about this till the cows come home. I could talk about this for hours, because this is something that I really love, that really blows my hair back, that really makes my heart sing. So what is it that you do? What activities do you do that really, you lose track of time? It's like you're in the zone every time you're doing it. So think about what that could be as well, because that's obviously a true indication of what you could possibly do with that down the track. Let me say a few more hellos. So up to number three. So Lynn Bates from Wooleye in New South Wales. Hi, how are you? Jim Schneider, a racing car driver. Ooh. See, I believe that there would be different, maybe you could become a test driver for different car automatic companies, or maybe there's some things that you could do with that you'd really, that you could use. Would it be fun? Debbie Broadley from Japan. Hi, Debbie. Good to see you here. Kim Walensky. The breeze is affecting your mic. Oh, is it? Okay, sorry, guys. Where is my mic? All right. I'm going to put my hands here, so hopefully that might make it better. Sorry. Let's see. Steve from Canada. How are you, Steve? And Jackie Habza would like to travel to Ireland. Okay. And you lose the time when you're assisting people. Yeah, I love that too. Okay, so that was number three. What do you lose yourself in? Number four was, if you had to teach something, what would you teach? Now, when I read this question, what I see that is if I had some kind of experience, life experience, if I had some kind of skill or something that I do that I know would help other people, what would that be? For some of us, we've been through the ringer. We've managed to navigate through divorce, loved ones passing away, really challenging times in our life, bankruptcy, whatever that is. We have a lot of challenging times, and our experience and how we navigate through that can be a way for us to help other people as well. Or maybe there's something that people always go, you're so good at that, you should teach that. Or you should make a program and teach people how to do that. Think about things like that you're really good at. That could also be an indication of where you want to head to next. Because those kind of things are we're in an age of information, and, everyone, the amount of questions that get asked on Google every day about, how do you do this? How would I know this? How, people are asking these questions all the time. So they're always seeking this information. And if someone who has an experience that would really be helpful, maybe you've overcome addiction, maybe you've been able to raise 8 children or whatever that is. I know that experience and that information could really help other human beings. So think about something that applies to you that you could also do to really help you, get that. Oh, that's a better. Oh, excellent. Okay, cool. Right. Let's see. So that was number 4. If you had to teach something, what would you teach? Okay, and then what do you have? We have number 5. What's your greatest accomplishment in life so far? What's something that you've done that you truly feel proud of? Something that every time you think of it, it actually fills you with pride and accomplishment. Can you think of something like that in your life that you've been able to do? And then write that down as an answer to this question. Because it may not be that same thing that you want to do again, but it could be something that's related to that, that could really help as well. So think about what your biggest accomplishment is so far, okay? Okay, so Jim would like to teach people how to think about without bias. Oh, now, isn't that a skill that the world needs right now, Jim? Absolutely. Without bias and without judgment, being able to go into a conversation and just be like a clean slate. That would be amazing. Steve would love to own a single malt distillery in Scotland. Yes, that would be dangerous for me. I think I'd be taste testing too much. but yeah, how awesome would that be, Steve? Lynette, raising your son on your own. Exactly. Like single parents, like how tough is it for single parents out there? And if you had some hacks or some skills or some insights that could really help other people, and sometimes just being able to get a message out there so people realize that they're not the only ones that are going through, the challenges and the trials that they are at the time, that there are other people doing it as well, can be really good. Steve wants to start owning your own business. Well, I think you should get to it, Steve, because I think that's a great idea. All right, so that was number 5. So number 6 is, what does a perfect life look like to you? So I'm feeling like I'm living pretty much my version of a perfect life. I'm home in Australia for a month over Christmas and New Year's. I get to do what I love. I get to travel. From here I go to Hawaii, so I'm a part of the Transformational Leader Council, so I get to hang out with people like Jack Canfield and John Gray, and but I've really was very clear about what that life looked like, and was able to create that through the concepts that we teach here at My Movies. So what does it look like for you? And are you only working a certain hours of the day? Are you, is there certain people that you're hanging around? Is this part of the world that you're living in? Do you move around? We were doing the endless summer for a while there between California and Sydney, but now we're more full-time in California. So what does that look like? Who are you with? What are you doing? And really think about what that would be like if you had no restrictions, which kind of leads into the last question. And the last question is, what would you be doing if you had more money that you could spend? So let's just say that you have $5 million, $10 million. What would you be doing if you had that amount of money? Would you still be working? And if you would be working, what would you be doing? Who would you be helping? Where would you be traveling? Who would you be hanging out with? What kind of a difference would you be making in the world? And really think about what those things are. I think that when we get to that point, you go, well, if I've got $10 million, I really don't have to worry about anything. Then you really get to this point of, well, what do I really, really want? And like I said, some of these questions may take a little while for you to really think about, but don't force anything. And, maybe you sit down and no inspiration comes to you at the time, but maybe it does later on. And I recommend just asking yourself one question at a time. do you feel like you've confidently got an answer to it? So let me just quickly run through them one more time before we go. So number one is, what did you dream of becoming when you were a child? What would you regret not doing, being, or having in your life? What activities make you lose track of time? If you had to teach something, what would you teach? What's your greatest accomplishment in life so far? What does a perfect life look like to you? And the last question I'm going to change to is, if you had $10 million, what would you be doing? Okay, so I wish you the very best of luck into the introspection of going through these questions and finding out the answers for yourself. And I actually have a gift for you, like I normally do. Actually, it's a video that I wanted to share with you about a new program that we put together called Chakra Awakening. So these, being able to tap into these aren't the regular chakras, these are actually higher chakras, but being able to tap into these can really give you some, a highway and consistent highway into your inspiration, and to really give you some insight and some direction on where you want to take your life. So I know that my team is going to put the link here so you can watch that video and get some insights from that. But thank you to everyone that's joining me today. I can see a few people. I'll say a few more Cheerios before I go. Oh, okay. No, I won't, because those just moved really quickly. Sorry, guys. But let me just say goodbye for now from Queensland, Queensland in Australia. I'll be back in Sydney next week. I won't be able to do a video on Friday because I'll be traveling back to Sydney, but I will be back again next week at the usual time. So I look forward to chatting to you all then. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. Have a fantastic day, and I look forward to chatting to you again all next week. Okay, everyone. Ciao for now.